Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the Fantasy Heavyweight Tournament breakdown video. So this video, I'm breaking down the tournament itself, how I establish my point system, and how the tournament's going to run, so we can all be clear about that, so you can all stay tuned. So how I came up with the point system is first. What I did is I looked at how many wins a fighter had in title fights, only title fights, because all the people on this list, there was 31 guys that called themselves heavyweight champ, whether it was the WBA regular belt all the way up to undisputed. If you held any one of those 4 belts, even a fraction of it, you made this tournament. I tried to make the tournament bigger this way. Yes, there's some guys that are completely undeserving. That there's probably 10 other challengers over the last 25 years that were better than some of these guys that call themselves a champion, especially with that bullshit regular belt. But there's also guys that held the regular belt, like Alexander Povetkin, that never, that you can argue were never a real world champion. Be that as it may, 31 guys. I added in the guy that got the most title shots in that time span and didn't win a belt, and that was Jamil McCline. So I added him in as a number 32 guy, just to give us a solid 32 heavyweights for the last 25 years. So from the year 2000, the start of 2000, all the way to 2024 here, 31 guys have called themselves a heavyweight world champion. Now, the tournament, how I came up with it is based on how many wins those fighters had. That's how I kind of ranked you. So, for instance, Vladimir Klitschko, 25 title fight wins, right? He had 25 wins in world title fights overall. He more than doubled the next guy. I think the next guy was his brother, had 12 wins. So he more than doubled Vitaly Klitschko. So, all the way down the line, you got a certain amount of points if you beat a guy with a certain amount of wins. It's a ranking system, almost like college football. It's strength of schedule, strength of victory, that kind of deal. If you fought in a title fight, you got a point. If you fought, depending on how many titles you fought for, you got a point for each title. If it was the regular belt, you got half a point. If you were in a regular title fight, you got half a point. So that obviously that wasn't worth as much. Knockouts are worth more than decisions. Unanimous decision is worth more than a majority or a split decision. Majority or split is worth more than a DQ victory. And yes, there was a DQ victory during this. A draw is obviously lower than that. You also got a point for a draw, even if you were the challenger in a title fight. So that's how I established everything right there. So if you had a win over Vladimir Klitschko, you're going to see Corey Sanders in this tournament is like number 15 overall. And why? Even though he only had one title fight win, because of who he beat. Beating Vladimir Klitschko was worth like worth 20 points just for beating him, and on top of everything else. So and again, that's a strength of schedule. I felt that was fair. I went by the numbers, and that's how I broke all these guys down and separated them all. So you're gonna see guys that you're like, oh well, this guy had, he beat that guy, and that guy's ranked higher. Well, that guy might have did more just based on what his best victory was or whatever, even though he lost. So that's how I established my point system, and I feel like it was pretty fair and even, and it's unbiased that way also. It wasn't my opinion. That's how I fairly broke it down. Speaking of all that, now let's do the tournament breakdown, how this is all going to shake out. So first off, there's 32 men in the tournament. The top 16 will fight the bottom 16 in one way, shape, or form. I will. That's where I cut it in half. I drew out of the hat based on each fighter. So Vladimir Klitschko's number 1. I drew 3 names out of the hat. I didn't want to do 1 versus 32 all the way down the line because, one, you might get stuck with a horrible matchup that nobody really wants to see. I think it provides more of a chance of those kind of fights when you do that kind of format. It takes away a guy being able to pick his opponent, but I also didn't want it to be just flat out like pick whoever you want to pick kind of deal and all that kind of stuff. So what I did is I drew names out of the hat. I drew 3 names out of the hat and went in order. So Vladimir Klitschko, I drew 3 names out of the hat, and I picked who I think Vlad would have fought. You know, based on what I've known about Vlad, if he beat the other 2 guys, and I think in his situation, the other 2 names that I drew, he had victories, dominant victories over. So I went with the guy that he hadn't fought for the first round. So that's how I established that, and I went all the way down the line from 1 to 16 like that. So that's how I established the first round picks, and I'm going to do that in the second round as well. When we're down to 16, I'm going to cut it off at 8. Top 8 fights the bottom 8 in one way, shape, or form. And there are some good matchups because of the way I did that. I felt like it was a mix of, you got the top 16 fighting the bottom 16. That's how that should work. And also you get a little free will on who these guys probably would have fought by drawing 3 names out of the hat. So I was fair and unbiased when it came to that as well. And I feel like we got some good matchups in the first round. Now, when I announce each, I'm gonna do my next video is gonna be all the matchups in the first round, just so you know what they are. And then I'm gonna do a video per matchup after that. And once I start releasing those videos, I think I'm gonna give it about like 72 hours. I'm gonna give you guys 72 hours either on Facebook or on my YouTube channel here to evaluate the matchup and vote on who you think is gonna who you think should win. And then after like 72 hours, I'm gonna tally up all the votes and we're gonna do it. Now, one thing I really I'm gonna say this in every video: if you agree with my assessment, Klitschko knocks out so-and-so, then just give me a thumbs up, either on my YouTube channel or on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up. That's it. If you think it ends by a decision and I pick the knockout, then let me know that. Hey, I think Klitschko by decision, or instead of a knockout. And if I get enough of those, then that's what the end result is going to be, because it's not about my opinion. I'm only one vote in all this. I want your guys' opinion. Mine is to break down the fight and give you, based on what I believe, what I've seen, and all the homework I've done on these heavyweights, give you my, fact-based opinion from there. And then we're gonna have some fun, where everybody gets involved and gets to pick who the best heavyweight is of the last 25 years. So that's everything. That is the tournament breakdown. We're gonna do this again. The top 16 are gonna fight the bottom 16 in one way, shape, or form. The second round is gonna be the top 8. The top 8 will fight the bottom 8 in one way, shape, or form. The quarterfinals, the top 4 will fight the bottom 4 remaining, and so on through the final 4. So maybe we'll switch it up if guys want to be like, hey, we want to pick the matchups. Maybe I'll be open to that. We'll see once we get there. But this is a tournament that's going to take a few weeks, but it should be fun, guys. It should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to do this, and I hope everybody is as excited as I am, because I'm really, really into it. So I hope you are too. That's it. That's what I got. That is my fantasy heavyweight tournament breakdown video of all the rules, the regs, of what is going to go down, or how I'm going to operate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed doing the tournament with me. Next up is the first round matchups. I hope you enjoyed it. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.